Roberts 10. We have late-breaking news regarding the situation at City Hall.
The reconstruction efforts are completely stalled, Susan. It's madness.
Finally, you're awake. We've been waiting for a long time.
Where am I?
You are in the control room, or what your history books might call heaven. You see, the world you just left, the traffic, the taxes, the anxiety, it was a stress test, a simulation running on a loop. Centuries ago, we solved it. The unified field. Science and God were the same equation. We lived in the unus mundus, the one world. No conflict, no doubt. But peace made us stagnant. So the split happened. The materialists rose up against the mystics. They wanted to tear down the hierarchy, separate the worker from the divine. They nearly burned the universe down to prove a point. So we called a truce. We built you. We grew a consciousness from scratch, manufactured DNA, and dropped you into the simulation. The goal was simple. If you chose logic, the materialists would rule. If you chose faith, the order would return.
They both felt real. When my enemies fell upon me, I saw the truth of the void. I saw a universe where justice is sold to the rich to extort the poor. But when I rose, I felt invincible. Like I had some special access to the soul of the universe. I felt a prayer in my chest that was deeper than reality itself. I am the dust. I am the dreamer. I am the machine and the ghost.
Alert! Subject is holding two contradictory states. Probability variance is critical. System failure. Subject refuses binary integration. Initiating new protocol. If subject cannot exist within the simulation, we must build the simulation around the subject. You aren't the battery anymore. You are the source code.
Welcome to the next stage, Jeff.
Hey, kids. Are you ready to have fun? Well, for the first part of the Jeff Show, we always like to relax and enjoy some not too overstimulating entertainment. So just sit back. For the next 90 minutes, I'm going to put you in a somatic soundscape. So put your headphones in, and we're going to enjoy. This is a chance for you to get your volume up. You can tell how the volume actually spans. Nice and clear. Can you hear me? Yes, you can. All right, here we go. I want you to think about your mom. Mama, everybody. Mama. Mama got your mama say I love you loud. Yeah. Folks, I want to tell you what you're in for the next 90 minutes. You're into a full surround sound music experience that's going to fluctuate between songs and me trying to take the stage and then me just hanging back, letting you do whatever you're doing. So, whatever you're doing, having a conversation, cooking dinner, I'm here to support it. And sometimes I put some things on the screen, some visuals, or sometimes I tell some stories to kind of facilitate that context that we're in. So let me tell you a little bit about what we have for today. Well, today, there's two things we're going to do. First of all, this is going to be appropriate for kids because parents need to be able to shove a tablet in front of their kids and make them shut. This is why it's a challenge. So, we're trying to slip into a kid's demographic because kids need stuff like that. We're also going to talk about suicide. Okay. Now I realize that's not always the most appropriate topic. But later today, I'm going to show you a song that it's just kind of like a really dorky song, but it's got audio clips of the Jim Jones tapes. And if you don't know, Jim Jones led a cult, a revivalist cult, and in Jonestown, Mississippi, I don't even remember when, like 100 years ago or something like that. This whole group of 400 people all drank cyanide and killed themselves. And it was really shocking. And when you get into high school, I think you learn about this briefly because it's co-located in like the 1960s, which is when civil rights and Martin Luther King and hippies and the Vietnam War, and there's just all this turbulence. And so when it gets in your history book, it's written as something that's like, you know, one of these crazy episodes. But when you listen to the tapes, they say something really interesting. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make a message appropriate for children, you know, like a texture, a style that's not too edgy or crossing the line, but it's engaging and it is appropriate for children. And we're also going to talk about suicide. So if I can do that, I really will be impressed with myself. So first, you know what? I'm going to just take it easy. I'm going to just give you a little bit of a chance to go on with what you're doing, and I'm going to come back to you in about 25 minutes, and we're going to play something here on the screen. Now, this is real video footage from the real wilderness, where not too many people have been. And I'm going to play for you. I've been staring at the edge of the water long as I can remember, never really knowing why. I wish I could be the perfect daughter, but I come back to the water no matter how hard I try. Everybody on this island seems so happy on this island, and everything is by design. But I wonder, how was it written this way? How can I know to be swayed when everyone tells me to do? Every turn I take, every trail I track, every path I make, every road leads back to the place I know where I cannot go, where I long to be. Where's that place? travel 1,000,000 miles. But a lot of the things that the world tells you as you get older, you realize they're not true. And I think what's important to realize as kids, the moment we stop being a kid, it'll happen to you. It's when someone tells us a lie. Adults are full of lies. And it's not a bad thing. An adult has many responsibilities. They have to answer for many people. They have a thing called a job that makes them have to answer for an entire organization of people. So no matter what they think, they have to think about all those people. Just like if they have to think about you, they have to think about their children. So their identity, the thoughts they have inside their head, they change because there's more people in their head. And we make the mistake of thinking that all of those things that we have to worry about are us. And that's the lie. So kids, remember this moment, because when you're a kid, that's when everything begins. This might be the most important years of your life, because for the rest of your life, you will remember, or you might try to forget what happened as a kid. And your entire personality as an adult is really you trying to hold on to, or maybe trying to let go of what you were as a kid, because every adult is actually still a kid. I used to think that I could not go on, that life was just a bitter song. But now I know the meaning of true love. I'm leaning on the everlasting love. If I can show it, then I can do it. If I believe it, there's nothing to it. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I believe I can. So catch me going through that open door. Believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. Ooh. Thank you. Did you guys like that? You did? Come on, be honest. Oh, you guys are really nice. Thank you. Thank you. Well, now that I have your attention, now that you're listening, and you're hearing this message, and you're stuck here in the wilderness, I'm going to give you something to do. Feeling blue, 'cause I got you. I got blue, 'cause I got you. I feel alright. I feel alright. No. You want to hear some fun? Get yourself to the dance floor. Come on, let's see a little dance. Oh, not like that. That was actually pretty bad. Like a dance like this. You got the idea? There you go. Dancing, it's primal. We've been doing it for generations. It's the body's way of expressing what it needs to say, how it needs to talk. This is happy. Does it make you feel happy? Fire alarm! Everyone out of the building. Get ready. Here we go. Take a second to recalibrate your move. Is anyone not dancing? Get him out there. You want to get weirder? Yeah, let's let it go to sleep. There you go. Yeah, we got back. Nice. You can hear this. Everything is okay. I woke up today. I woke up and saw the sun. 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 The sun. Sun! Sun! Thank you. Thank you. Well, folks, that's my car. That's my car. It's nice to have a car. Just killed a man, brought a gun up to his head. In my prison now, he said, Mama, life had just begun, and now I've gone and thrown it all away. Hey there. All right, we're going to shift gears a little bit. I'm going to play some bigger music. And we're going to kind of just float around for a second. Oh. Folks, welcome to the second part of our show. We're getting a little crazy now. So come on in and see the greatness.
How very much I've loved you. How very much I've tried my best to give you the good life.
What is this?
But in spite of all that I've tried,
Guys, I want to present something very special. For the next 45 minutes, or as long as I keep interested in it, we're going to hear that fateful day in Jonestown. Literally, we're going to hear the cult leader recommend a solution for all the group killing themselves. These days, it's unpopular to say the word suicide, which is totally wrong to me. I had a friend kill herself 2 years ago. you will probably have one of your close friends kill themselves. Some of the greatest thinkers of all time said that it is really the only true problem for philosophers and thinkers to question whether life is worth living. And the reason it's unpopular to talk about this is because we live in an age where everything is good. What more could you ask for? Never in our lives have we been able to go buy a hamburger or go take a trip or go outside. But it seems like with the absence of some really serious problems like they used to have back in the old days, which we don't have anymore, we're trying to understand our minds and how to keep our minds healthy. And so I think talking about suicide actually is really healthy for your mind. Because I realized when my friend killed herself, she made too quick of a decision. It wasn't that she was unhappy. You know, you wake up and you're unhappy. Maybe the next day you're sad too. And if you really think that you should kill yourself, you should make a list. Of all the things that you are frustrated at, all the blocks. And if you really think that those blocks are too big, those bullies are too strong, that you just have to get out of the way and leave, then you should make a list. What are those blocks? And then go ahead and say, you know what? These blocks are killing me, and I'm not gonna let them. In fact, I'm gonna use whatever life I have left and defy them. And suddenly you're living. So that's the message of this story. When we talk about suicide, we're talking about life. Because if you actually think about ending your life, you think of all the things you need to do before you enter life. Because a lot of the times, I'm going to quote something that came from a guy who survived the Holocaust. He said that people did want to kill themselves. And the thing that changed their minds was not so much convincing them that they had more to do in life because they had given up on their life, but to convince them that life needed something from them. And if you can identify your bullies, if you can think about the end of your life and think about what would be unfinished, there you can understand, you can hear directly the voice of life speaking to you your purpose. And this goes beyond any of the lies, any of the roles, any of the fake personalities you take on in your life. This is not from society. It's not from your parents. It's not from your friends. This is from the spirit of the universe inside you. So we're going to listen to this. It might be too long, but this is an actual recording of people before they died, and they're talking about ending their lives. So we got to hear from them. We got to understand what messages from the other side, from the end of life, do we need to carry with us through this life? Because we're all going to die. If you want to kill yourself, don't worry, it'll happen. If you really want to die that bad, just wait, it'll happen. So, we got to think of life and death together. So we're going to listen to this forbidden conversation. This conversation between life and death. You ready? The Jonestown death tapes.
A handful of our people, with their lies, have made our life impossible. There's no way to detach ourselves from what's happened today. Not only we're in a compound situation, not only are there those who have left and committed the betrayal of the century. Some have stolen children from others, and they're in pursuit right now to kill them because they stole their children. And we are sitting here waiting on a powder keg. I don't think this is what we want to do with our babies. I don't think that's what we had in mind to do with our babies. It was said by the greatest of prophets from time immemorial, no man takes my life from me, I lay my life down. So to sit here and wait for the catastrophe that's going to happen on that airplane, it's going to be a catastrophe. Almost happened here. Almost happened. The congressman was nearly killed here. But you can't steal people's children. You can't take off with people's children without expecting a violent reaction. And that's not so unfamiliar to us either. Even if we were Judeo-Christian, if we weren't communists, the world, the kingdom suffers violence, and the violence shall take it by force. If we can't live in peace, then let us die in peace. We've been so betrayed. We have been so terribly betrayed. But we tried, and as Jack Beam often said, I don't know where he's at right this moment. Where's Jack? He said, if this only worked one day, it was worthwhile. Because what's going to happen here in a matter of a few minutes is that one of those people on that plane is going to shoot the pilot. I know that. I didn't plan it, but I know it's going to happen. They're going to shoot that pilot, and down comes that plane into the jungle. And we had better not have any of our children left when it's over, because they'll parachute in here on us. I'm telling you just as plain as I know how to tell you, I've never lied to you. I never have lied to you. I know that's what's going to happen. That's what he intends to do. And he will do it. He'll do it. Fortunately, being so bewildered with many pressures on my brain, seeing all these people behave so treasonous, it was just too much for me to put together. But I now know what he was telling me, and it'll happen. If the plane gets in the air, even. So my opinion is that we be kind to children and be kind to seniors and take the portion like they used to take in ancient Greece and step over quietly, because we are not committing suicide. It's a revolutionary act. We can't go back. They won't leave us alone. They're now going back to tell more lies, which means more congressmen, and there's no way we can survive. Anybody? Anyone that has any dissenting opinion, please speak. Yes. You're going to have an opportunity, but if our children are left, we are going to have them butchered. We can make a strike, but we'll be striking against people that we don't want to strike against. We'd like to get the people who cause this stuff, and if some people here are prepared to know how to do that, we're in town and get Timothy Stone, but there's no plane. There's no plane. You can't catch a plane in time. He's responsible for it. He brought these people to us. He and Deanna Myrtle. But people in San Francisco will not be idle over this. They'll not take our death in vain, you know. Yes, Christian. Is it too late for Russia? Here's why it's too late for Russia. They killed. They started to kill. That's why it makes it too late for Russia. Otherwise, I'd said, Russia, you bet your life. But it's too late. I can't control these people. They're out there. They're gone with their guns, and it's too late. And once we kill anybody, at least that's the way I've always put my lot with you. If one of my people do something, it's me. Now they say I don't have to take the blame for this, but I don't live that way. They deliver up Ujara, who tried to get the man back here. Ujara, whose mother has been lying on him and trying to break up this family, and they've all agreed to kill us by any means necessary. You think I'm going to deliver them, Ujara? Not on your life. No. No, you're not going. You're not going. You're not going. I can't live that way. I cannot live that way. I've lived for all, and I'll die for all. I've been living on hope for a long time, Christine. I appreciate you've always been a very good agitator. I like agitation because you got two sides of one issue, two sides of a question. But what those people are going to get done, what they get through, will make our life worse than hell. Will make the Russians not accept us. When they get through lying, they told so many lies between there and that truck that we are running as far as any other alternative.
Well, I said let's make an airlift to Russia. That's what I say. I don't think nothing is impossible.
Well, how are we going to believe it? How are you going to airlift to Russia?
Well, I thought they said if we got in an emergency, they gave you a code to let them know.
No, they did. They gave us a code that they'd let us know of an issue, not us create an issue for them. They said if they
They're talking about
saw
the
the
world.
country coming down, they'd create.
The reason they're talking about Russia is they're worried about the Cold War.
Check on there and see if it's on the code.
The time
Check with Russia to see if they'll take us in immediately, otherwise we die. I don't know what else she said.
Russia
to these
might
people.
send nukes.
But to me, death is not a fearful thing. It's living that's treacherous.
Ooh!
I have never seen anything like this before in my life. I've never seen people take the law and do in their own hands and provoke us and try to purposely agitate murder of children. There's no use, Christine. It's not worth living like this. It's not worth living like this.
I think that there were too few who left for 1,200 people to give them their lives for those people that left.
Do you know how many left?
20 odd. That's a small
20 odd.
Compared to what's here.
20 odd. But what's going to happen when they don't leave? I hope that they could leave, but what's going to happen when they don't leave?
You mean the people here?
Yeah, what's going to happen to us when they don't leave, when they get on the plane and the plane goes down?
I don't think it'll go down.
You don't think it'll go down? I wish I could tell you were right, but I'm right. There's one man there who blames, and rightfully so, Debbie Blakey for the murder of his mother. And he'll stop that pilot by any means necessary. He'll do it. That plane will come out of the air. There's no way you fly a plane without a pilot.
I wasn't speaking about that plane. I was speaking about the plane for us to go to Russia.
To Russia. You think Russia's going to want... No, not going to... You think Russia's going to want us with all this stigma?
Okay, I guess they're talking about Russia because
value, but now we don't have any value.
they're talking
Well, I
about
don't
changing
see it like
economic
that. I mean, I
systems
feel
and
like
escaping
that
capitalism.
As long as there's life, there's hope. That's my faith.
Well, everybody dies. Someplace that hope runs out because everybody dies. I haven't seen anybody yet that didn't die. And I like to choose my own kind of death for a change. I'm tired of being tormented to hell. That's what I'm tired of. Tired of it. 1,200 people's lives in my hands, and I certainly don't want your life in my hand. But I'm going to tell you, Christine, without me, life has no meaning. I'm the best friend you'll ever have. One I have to pay. I'm standing with you, Jara. I'm standing with those people. They're part of me. I can detach myself. My journey says detach myself. No. I never detached myself from any of your troubles. I've always taken your troubles right on my shoulders. And I'm not going to change that now. It's too late. I've been running too long. I'm not going to change now. Maybe the next time you get to go to Russia, the next time round, This is what I'm talking about now is in the dispensation of judgment. This is a revolutionary suicide council. I'm not talking about self-destruction. I'm talking about what we have no other road. I will take your call. We will put it to the Russians, and I can tell you the answer now because I'm a prophet. Call the Russians and tell them, see if they'll take us.
I said I'm afraid to die.
I don't
By
think
no
you are.
means.
I don't think you are.
But I look at our babies and I think they deserve to live.
I agree.
You know?
But also they deserve, what's more, they deserve peace.
We all came here for peace.
And have we had it?
No.
I tried to give it to you. I've laid down my life practically. I've practically died every day to give you peace, and you've still not had any peace. You look better than I've seen you in a long while, but it's still not the kind of peace that I wanted to give you. So, a person's a fool that continues to say that you're a winner when you're losing. Win one, lose two. What? I didn't hear you, ma'am. You have to speak up. That's a sweet thought. Who said that? Come on up and speak it again, honey. Say what you say about it. Talk about it. It's taken off. No plane is taken off. It's suicide. Stone has done it. Somebody, can I talk to her? I'll talk to San Francisco. See, the Stone does not get by with this infamy. This is infamy. He has done the thing he wanted to do. To have us destroyed.
When we destroy ourselves, we're defeated. We let them, the enemy, defeat us.
Did you see I live to fight no more forever?
Yes, I saw that.
Did you not have some sense of pride and victory in that man? He would not subject himself to the will and whim of people who tell that they're going to come in whenever they please and push into our house, come when they please, take who they want to, talk to who they want to. Is that living? That's not living to me. That's not freedom. That's not the kind of freedom I saw.
But I think where they made their mistake is when they stopped to rest. If they had gone on, they would have made it. But they stopped to rest.
It's over, sister. It's over. We've made that day. We made a beautiful day. And let's make it a beautiful day. That's what
We win when we go down. Tim Stone has nobody else to hate. He has nobody else to hate. Then he'll destroy himself. I'm speaking here not as the administrator. I'm speaking as a prophet today. I wouldn't step in this seat and talk so serious if I didn't know what I was talking about. If there's any way to call back the immense amount of damage that's going to be done. But I cannot separate myself from the pain of my people. You can't either, Christine, if you stop to think about it. You can't separate yourself. We've walked too long together.
I know that, but I still think as an individual, I have a right to...
You do, and I'm listening.
What I think, what I feel, and I think we all have a right to our own destiny as individuals.
Right.
And I think I have a right to choose mine, and everybody else has a right to choose theirs.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. I'm not criticizing. I'm not trying to... What's that?
I still have a right to my own opinion.
I'm not taking it from you. I'm not taking it from you.
Christine, you're only standing here because he was here in the first place. So I don't know what you're talking about, having an individual life. Your life has been extended to the day that you're standing there because of him.
Voice back there, she has much right to speak to anybody else, too. What'd you say, Luby? Well, you'll regret it this very day if you don't die. You'll regret it if you don't die. You'll regret it.
Too many people?
I saved them, but I made my example. I made my expression. I made my manifestation, and the world was ready, not ready for me. Paul said I was a man born out of due season. I've been born out of due season just like all we are, and the best testimony we can make is to leave this goddamn world.
I'm not talking to her. Will you let me talk?
You're talking.
Would you make her sit down and let me talk while I'm on the floor, or let her come up?
Proper to tell the leader what to do. It really isn't. I've listened to you. You asked me about Russia. I'm right now making a call to Russia. What more do you suggest? I'm listening to you. If Russia gives me one slight bit of encouragement, I just now instructed them to go there and do that.
Whoa! That just blew our whole attempt at making this a kid's show. That word is a bad word.
Everybody hold it. We didn't come. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it.
Okay.
Much longer to maintain.
Going off the rails now.
To lay down your burdens. I'm going to lay down
Yes,
my
this is
burdens
gonna
down by the riverside. So we lay them down here in the side of Guyana. What's the difference? No man didn't take our life right now. He hadn't taken it. But when they start parachuting out of the air,
Let's hear some
they'll
gospel.
shoot some of our innocent babies. I don't want to see this, Christy. Because they got to shoot me to get through to some of these people. I'm not letting them take your jar. Can you let them take your jar?
See John die?
What's that?
You mean you want to see John, the little one, and keep?
I want to see. Peace.
Are you saying that you think he thinks more of them than other children here?
John.
That's what you're saying?
But you're acting. Do you think I'd put John's life above others? If I put John's life above others, I wouldn't be standing with his jar. I'd send John out. He could go out on the driveway tonight.
Because he's young. They're young.
I know, but he's no different to me than any of these children here. He's just one of my children. I don't prefer one above another. I don't prefer him above you, Jara. I can't do that. I can't separate myself from your actions or his actions. If you'd done something wrong, I'd stand with you. If they wanted to come and get you, they'd have to take me.
We're all ready to go. If you tell us we have to give our lives now, we're ready. I'm pretty sure all the rest of the sisters and brothers are with me.
That's my favorite quote in this whole.
I've tried to keep this thing from happening, but I now see it's the will of sovereign being that this happened to us. That we lay down our lives in protest against what's being done. That we lay down our lives to protest in what's being done. The criminality of people, the cruelty of people. Who walked out of here today? Did you notice who walked out? Mostly white people. Mostly white people walked. I'm so grateful for the ones that didn't, those who knew who they are. But there's no point. There's no point to this. We are born before our time. They won't accept us. And I don't think we should sit here and take any more time for our children to be endangered, because they come after our children and we give them.
We need something a little uplifting. That was heavy stuff, right? We need something a little bit wacky, because life doesn't have to be so serious. That's what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be all serious about living and making it matter. You're alive. Take the contribution from where it comes. Enjoy it. What else? What other commandments do you need besides just being commanded to enjoy your life? You've been given a mind. You've been given a mind to navigate problems. You've been given a body to enjoy pleasures. That's a good formula. That's fun. say? You gonna say, gay away, you gonna stay? You gonna stay away? All right, I really dug myself into a hole. But you know what? We're going to consult our own little book of scriptures and try to see if we can find a way out of that. Because they brought up some scary things. And so we're going to consult the good book, the book of life, the book of my life specifically. And we're going to see what this has to say about it. Okay, so what you're looking at is actually a program that I made. And this is how I read and journal. Now, I'm not going to let you in on just everything, but we're going to look at a specific section known as the mysteries in the library. Okay, and we're going to make, first of all, let's look at what we got. Boom. This is 16-ish years, with last year being the biggest year that I wrote stuff. So let's look at that year. Harlem and black people. So we have entries on political science, entries on masculinity, entries on being a wizard, the thing I told you at the beginning about listening to your soul. We have entries about holes and the devil and the things which try to enter into us through holes in our weaknesses. So this is our complete Bible of how to fend off psychic attacks. But first of all, let's see what we're dealing with. Harlem and black people. Malcom X is someone you've probably not heard of. You've heard of Martin Luther King, but a contemporary at the same time as Martin Luther King is known as Malcom X. Now, X is a funny last name, and in fact, he changed it because he thought that last names were a sign that you were in slavery. And by creating his own name, he dictated the new terms of his identity. Now, one thing that is really interesting is Harlem is a black ghetto, a primarily black ghetto in New York City. And in his book, Malcom X has written a famous autobiography because like Martin Luther King, he was assassinated, so we don't know much about him. But his unfinished autobiography is how he really got catapulted into the collective conscious. And he talks about how he see his journey with racism, and he develops from just being caught up in the civil rights of the race issue, but he makes it bigger than that. It's about class, and it's about segregation and being divided. And he says at first Harlem was a ghetto for the Germans. Back when New York was settled and it was a Dutch colony, and shortly after an Anglo-Saxon, an English colony, it was the German ghetto. And then it became, after New York prospered and the colonies became independent and immigrants started coming in, and it filled up with Irish people. And it was a quarter where they could keep, the less desired populations. And so each year, each section of history, this shifts. And first it's Irish, and then it's the Jews. Oh, no, then it's the Italians. And then it's the Jews. And then finally it's a black ghetto. So this is just to say that every race issue, we're taught that it's because racism is a social disease, and we're in the process of eradicating it. It's actually not so much a disease, it's a byproduct. Because society and technology are almost the enemy of humans like me and you, because every time a new piece of technology comes out, it's a machine that can do our job faster. And if we want to keep our job, we have to learn how to use the machine. And so technology is constantly throwing challenges at us and making us extinct. So as change happens to a society, and social strata changes, and your dad might get a good job or might get laid off, this creates this animosity between people and this feeling like there's not enough. And so people start fighting for the resources and they start dividing. And really, like, if you can picture the economy as a classroom, the teacher there's people who make decisions about what the economy will look like. And those people aren't bad. In some senses, they don't really have a choice, because you might call them greedy, but they're just driving the wheels of evolution forward, and they're reaping the benefits. But even if they didn't, eventually someone would come along and invent the machine that would take their jobs. So there's really the teacher is not so much a person, it's a force. And that force is the force of technology and change, and you'll experience this force many times throughout your life. And really that force creates a system which is fake, like the economy. The economy means how much money you have, how much money you make, how much money you can spend. Can you live with the amount of money you make? So in a sense it exists because you get that money and you spend it on things, but in another sense it doesn't exist. It's a jungle in your mind that creates artificial good guys and bad guys, winners and losers. And a lot of racism happens because we want to see ourselves as the winners, and we have to drive someone else to be the losers at the expense. And that's not really true. If we leave that made-up world that says there's only one spot and it's you or this other person that has to fill it, and you say, you know what, no, I'm going to go make my own spot. I'm going to go listen to, not the world, but I'm going to listen to this voice inside, then it can't get you. Okay, let's go up to one more. So we went through Harlem and black people. We went through society. Let's go through here. Like, so if a society wants to trick you to abandoning the voice inside of you and becoming the person inside the world, listening to the lies of the things you have to do, let's see how those lies, the process in which they get into you. So we're going to read about Satan, but this is not the Satan that you've been taught of, a moral deceiver to get you to lie, to get you to obey, or to get to disobey, because all those things, those are actually commandments from a certain teacher, your parents or your school. They don't want you to lie because it's inconvenient for the order they've established. We're talking about really the temptation, not to do bad things, but the temptation to accept lies. It's deeper than just following the rules. It's the temptation to think that the rules are all that matters. And the rules do matter, but they're not the only thing that matters. You need to understand where the rules came from, the other sets of competing rules. So what Satan really is this ancient god of time. And in the beginning, when there was just man and nature, and every day you were fighting for survival, time meant that you would get hungry, and you would have to fill your needs, and you'd have to go look for food. So it was this constant demand for your attention. And then as society started creating farms and medicine and drinking water, these instincts of survival, these games of survival kind of vanished, and Saturn absorbed into what we call civilization, the expectations of people around you. So Saturn is the god of time, the god of money, this currency of interdependence that keeps us all accountable to fitting into the picture we're supposed to fill. And if you look at, so there's a tarot card called the Devil. And a tarot card is, if you ever go to someone who's a palm reader or a gypsy or a fortune teller, which some people are very skeptical of going to because they think that is might open more questions than answers. So you're right to practice some skepticism. But if you go look into those things, you might visit a tarot reader. And a tarot reader has tarot cards. And each of the cards are like cards in a playing deck, but they have deeper meanings. In fact, the cards you use in a playing deck came from tarot cards. Playing cards came from the Middle Ages, in the late Middle Ages. And, royalty would spend their time playing these cards, and they were actually imported from the East. So 1,000 years ago, around the year 1000, really actually 1100, there was a period of about 150 years where all of Europe, underneath the Pope's authority, mostly France and the constituents of the Holy Roman Empire, were going to the Middle East to participate in the Crusades. How many Crusades were there? Some of you are going to say 3 Crusades. That's not a bad guess. There's the first Crusade. Oh, man, do you really want to know about the Crusades? Because I'm going to go off on a tangent. I'll just tell you the story. All right, so the first Crusade was a total disaster. Everyone was so excited they just dropped their work, and they didn't plan, and they didn't have enough food to complete the journey. A lot of people starved, and then it was really a disaster. They murdered Jews. They murdered Muslims. They committed a lot of crime. Well, anyways, they capture, I can't remember if it's the first or second crusade where they capture Jerusalem, but they make some progress, and they decide to go back. Well, the second crusade, they captured Jerusalem, which was finally their goal. I'm mixing this up. But somewhere around the third crusade, Saladin, or Saladin, as some of you know, shows up and turns out to be just not only a more cunning warrior than the Europeans, but a more cunning gentleman and a better servant of God, a peacemaker. There's a story where Richard the Lionheart, who was the king of England at the time, and if you watch the movie Robin Hood, and they have the cruel King John, his brother, ruling in his stead, that's because King Lionheart is in the Middle East fighting the Crusades. And so the Lionheart, who will actually die in the Middle East, there's a story where he's sieging a city where Saladin is protecting, and the Lionheart is fighting so courageously, like they embark their ships, and he jumps off into the sea, and he's up to his waist in seawater, and he runs out and he fights like a lion, with all disregard, just a total show of bravery. And Saladin looks down and sees the Lionheart and sends him a horse. In the middle of the battle, he sends him a horse, and a messenger says, "It's a shame that such a fierce warrior should have to do it without a horse." So Saladin was a gentleman and a peacemaker. So anyways, I got off track. I started talking about the Crusades because I wanted to talk about tarot cards, and I was talking about how they started it in the Middle Ages. The long and short is the late Middle Age. The Middle Ages end in the 1400s. That's the period of the Renaissance. And then a couple 100 years go by, and we have the Enlightenment and science and all that stuff. But the reason that the Middle Ages end is because in the 200 years after the Crusades, the technology they find in the Middle East vastly improves Europe. In the 1100s and 1200s, we have like the first windmills, We have the transition from water transportation and water merchants to roads and and a lot of you might not think this is really important, but when you think about how an economy grows and how an empire gets bigger, it's because of roads. It's people can talk to each other. People feel more connected. So Europe really starts to become kind of a world power because they can build roads, because they can cross boundaries, and there's less feudalism, less local rules, and they can travel on a road and go from, all the way across the world and not have to pay 100 tolls along the way. There's actual inventions of credit. So the first credit cards get invented. They're ledgers, and the banks become clearinghouses where they can write notes, and then suddenly merchants, instead of having to travel with tons of heavy gold, they can just travel with a stack of papers that they can go find a merchant in another part of the world who will give them money, and they can exchange money between countries. So these are inventions that a lot of things harvest from the Crusades. Playing cards are one of them. So the moral of this story, back to what we're reading, we started this program talking about how we have a voice inside of us, and then when we become adults, we're told to leave that voice behind and be who the world tells us it needs to be. And that's what it means to be an adult. An adult means you have a job, you have kids, you have someone depending on you, and you have to start telling lies. And they're not bad lies. You have to cooperate because you have to protect these people. And when someone asks you a question, you can't just say what you think. You have to say what you believe in. And what you believe in is a mix of what you need to believe in, what you need to do to keep the world running. And a lot of us would say that this form of lying maybe is wrong. Maybe it's wrong to be anything other than ourselves. But a lot of us get led astray by just being ourselves. We realize how hard it is to be alone. That's one thing I've had to learn. I started out accepting all the lies, and I became something that I wasn't really meant to be. But because I listened to the lies, and I went to school, and I got good grades, and I listened to my teachers, and I was smart, it gave me an advantage. And it gave me good standing within the world. And that good standing I was good with finances. I was good with money. I could save money. I could invest money. I could keep money. And that allowed me to transition to a project I really wanted to do. So I'm just saying, there's always a balance. And when this isn't in the Bible, it's in the Apocrypha, which is the books left off the Bible. They ask Jesus, where is the real heart of man? What should we follow? Is it that we should follow our souls? Should we just listen to that thing, that voice inside of us, no matter what? Or should we listen to, the spirit out in the world, what we see around us? And Jesus says that it's both. It's neither what's inside or what you're being commanded to do outside. It's the mind which hovers between them and has to choose, just like you're going to have to choose, of how much you listen to from yourself and how much you listen to from the world. This Satan, these lies, they're not your nemesis. They're actually your partner. It will tell you, it will feed you lies. It will feed you work and responsibilities, and you have to decide how much you're going to go along with that. Most adults aren't willing to separate, to actually talk about it. They pick one or the other. They'd be one extreme of never backing down of what they have to say or never actually having an original thought. And they are unwilling to look at the negotiation between them. The attachments they have to one side or the other. Their inabilities to be freely choosing in any moment which voice to listen to. There's a part of us that is that demon. There's a part of us that believes the lies that either we tell ourselves or the world tells us, because we believe somehow that we earned something or we deserved it. So the one takeaway, the most important lesson to fight off the demon of self or the demon of the other is to work in humility and to know that whatever you are, you're just playing a part. And life is here for you to enjoy the pleasure of playing something that you're not. Not to say that it's not important, but that you have fun and you enjoy the comedy and the mixed tragedy of all that your life is. So there, we did it. We talked about suicide. We had a curse word. I didn't say it, though. Someone else said it, and I didn't know it was there. So I apologize for that. We're not going to use that word. It was the D word, and you can ask anyone, your parents, what that is and when it's not appropriate to use. So I apologize for that, but other than that, we did a good job. We discussed suicide, and we did it appropriate for a child. And we discussed cults and mass suicide and social disobedience, social violence, civic violence. We pretty much covered the darkest subjects of life, appropriate for a kid. So thank you for sticking around with me. And you know what? If I'm going to just say this. If my friend who killed themselves, because this is really what we're talking about today, suicide, and the whole question of life, and the deep-seated anger that makes us want to end it all, well, that anger's okay. You don't have to hide it from me. If my friend would have listened to their anger and given it more time and not rushed to make a decision, they would still be around. And they would still have time to make their decision. So think about that. No matter how strong or dark or deep the emotions are, time is your friend. You have a lot of time. You have so much time. And that's your gift. So make sure you don't let anyone take it away from you.
The audience is like, we're torturing you.